Just Answering Questions with Waptek. This is where I review comments on my channel that are usually, but not always, phrased as questions to avoid me responding to them and them being required to reply back. And sometimes it's just a comment. Now, I made a video explaining that someone posting a lie, that the destruction of God's law is not something that was listed in Encyclopedia Britannica. Someone literally lied about where they got their information from. And now when you look up that misquote, my video shows up as the only thing you find on the internet. I'm not kidding. At least on YouTube and through Google, it's the only thing that shows up with 100% search engine ranking for the expression, the destruction of God's law. Because that expression is only used in a couple of books partially, and it's not used in the dictionary. Do not accept the laws of man or man-made laws is another expression that is supposed to be in the Bible, for instance. And again, it's a good Christian, again, lying about their source material and never replying back. And I warned that person, you are not allowed to post here anymore, or any of my channels, and I'm not going to listen to you anymore because you refuse to reply to my statement. Now, I'm going to check live whether or not they posted a video, explain themselves. Now, under that video, I'm going to get comments where people weasel out of what the video was about. Again, it's the habit. Could be any comment. But it's the habit of people making up bullshit quotes and attributing them to other people or sources that are authoritative that never said it. I'm sure it says in the Bible to follow and obey your government. Surely that includes man's law. And this is someone probably being sarcastic, but the person's had a question mark on the end of it. So now that you've just asked a question, the Bible also doesn't say men that are homosexuals and are together and women who are together who are homosexuals are a sin. It does not actually say that. If you actually read it, especially if you read the Koine Greek, Aramaic, and Hebrew, which I've only read parts of it to confirm whether or not they jibe with each other. They don't. The original quote's been lost in time, but I'm pretty sure the word homosexual wasn't used. In fact, the wording that was used that we can find has nothing to do with what you believe. So I'm sure that the Bible, it says in the Bible to cast out everybody who is, gay or lesbian. Totally says those words. No, it doesn't. So someone's saying, well, the Bible should have said something about following, and obeying your government and man's law. Why would it mention that when it's exclusively about the law of God? Oh, actually, it does mention it. I'm not pointing to chapter and verse because your job is to do the impossible. Go through the entire Bible, which means you'd actually put the fucking effort into reading it, not misquote it. And show me the quote where you found this idea that it says that you're not supposed to accept man-made law. It's a real simple thing. I couldn't find it. None of you can either. There are expressions maybe like that, but that's subject to interpretation. That's you making that interpretation. And then if you look up all of the other transliterations and interpretations, all the way back to the original source material, which you're not supposed to take in vain, it doesn't fucking say it. It's that simple. So you have not made a point. You're being mocking me because you don't like the fact that it doesn't say what was asserted. And again, this is someone lying about the Bible and lying about the dictionary because they're liars. And you're propping up a liar by not admitting, at least to yourself, quietly, and shut the fuck up. Yeah, that person lied, and waptek pointed it out. And now when anybody looks up that expression, it's burned because they're going to find my video. The only thing anybody could do is get together and brigade it by repeating a lie, which is what usually happens. That's only if it's worthy of search engine ranking. The person then says, I used to call myself a born-again Christian due to it being my only reference. I now call it what it was, a spiritual awakening. You may have noticed that that one is bang on correct. That means this person's capable of being rational. Vanguard Supreme 2.0. You are required to admit your first statement there was either A, a sarcastic bite, and you are required, again, in the comment section, to reply. Because you're critiquing me, I'm allowed to critique you. You've made an assertion. You're putting it in the form of a question so you can avoid being critiqued. That won't work here. You have to then change that statement, add the statement in about the fact that the prohibition against being a homosexual doesn't exist in the Bible, in the same way that it doesn't exist that you're supposed to follow man's law. It doesn't mention man's law that way. Now we're going to open your channel in the background. Doing this live, which means this may end up being more than one video for only two people commented today. Channel does not feature any content, no videos, no playlists, no channels featured, discussion page. Started November 2020. I fly again. BLANK channel. Evades. Critique. And this is where my horrible spelling... Actually, I spelled it right. Wow, I'm amazed. And that's Vanguard Supreme 2.0. And I'd love to comment for you. That's what I did there. The last comment is valid. Yeah, having a spiritual awakening of any kind is fine. Please understand it may end up evolving away from being Christian and just being an awakening. People can have a spiritual awakening just by figuring out the universe is big or studying philosophy. But no, the Bible doesn't say anything specific you can come up with as a straw man argument in the same way that it doesn't do the straw man argument that prohibits homosexuals or anything else that people invent out of their ass by misinterpreting the Bible. Your comment is approved. I look forward to your response, preferably in video format. I'm not just asking questions. The last statement should have been all you posted. Because it's a positive assertion about what you think and believe. It's literally unassailable. And it's appropriate. Yeah, people call themselves whatever they can because that's kind of the label they do. I used to be a libertarian. And I'm more of a liberal. But it doesn't mean I vote one way or another. I vote for whoever will do the least amount of damage. That's how bad it is. That doesn't get us anywhere, does it? We need to be a little more brave and hopeful. And I am actually saying a lot of people who voted for Trump thought they were doing that. And maybe they still believe that way. But I'm seeing a lot of people just saying vote Trump because they want to watch the world burn. You can reply to that statement too below. All of you. Because that's an inaccurate assertion about any of you. Any of you showing up will have completely different motivations than, quote-unquote, the majority of people in one group or another. That means an assertion about me voting for Hillary, which I didn't want to do, isn't going to match with whatever bullshit straw man you come up with, right? Let's let that be the subject of the day. Below. Next person. I should get back to the originating source of the commentary, that a person lying about what it says in the Bible and in the dictionary. APSERT, absert. That's what the source is. Let's check to see if there's any responses. Obviously, the person has not posted any responses into the channel. Last video this channel posted was 11 years ago. Uses an icon from a video on charging Obama and the UN with genocide, which never happened 12 years ago. This is a person who's been posting lies in video format for a very long time. It's a propagandist. And on the homepage, you get to see their playlist of virtually nothing but music videos. And HHO generators. And the featured ones are all chicks with hot butt pictures. And that's nice. And since this person has refused outright to reply, removing comment. And then I'm going to search APSERT. And that'll be enough for that. Now we're going to go on to the next comment. Hopefully I can do this live. Let's see if YouTube can crash while I'm doing a video. That's never happened. It worked. Wow, I'm amazed. It seems like if I challenge YouTube to be functional by assuming the opposite, it seems to work better. Go figure. Then a person decides after I put up a video about the United States did not go bankrupt and belong to the British Crown and War Castle's document was a lie. And it brings up Robert Leroy Horton and quantum grammar and a bunch of other stuff. It's called grammar syntax, admiralty law, law of the sea, British admiralty law. We are not governed by the laws of the sea on land. This government isn't based on using them this way. You can reword laws for the sea and you can use them in a country. That doesn't mean that your source material is dominant. Our lawyers and judges have to be bar associates and register their law practices through the bar. That's why Britain wants to own America. No, the bar is actually well explained and was well explained way back when as being an association of people who had passed a certain level of criteria to become competent to defend others. When you defend yourself, you can be very earnest, but you may make mistakes. The idea is you make no mistakes, you defend passionately your client, and you're not incompetent. BAR does not stand for something else. It is based on a physical barrier or bar that was placed to separate everybody who was in the audience from the lawyers and the judge, creating a symbolic barrier beyond which you had to tell the truth and beyond which you were subject to being punished. The Bar Association, in and of itself, in its name, implies that they're a group of people who volunteer to be held to a higher standard, and they're more accountable to the law if it actually does its job right. You could argue that it doesn't. The Vatican owns it all. No, they don't. There is no tunnel from Beijing to Vatican. Deep underground military bunkers spelling out dumb. You don't get that somebody was making a joke like The Onion and making fun of you fuckheads. And then he brings up George Soros and adrenochrome. And again, these are all bullshit stories that have been debunked by me and many others. The Bar Association has nothing to do with the Vatican or the British government having power over anything. Just because we stole some of their ideas and then changed some words around, that doesn't mean that they run anything. You lying about that just means that you don't deal with reality. Because you won't learn about how the laws are. Well, I'm ignoring the laws. I'm trying to invalidate them so I don't have to follow them. That means you're a lawbreaker. That means you're an outlaw. While that may invoke some sort of charismatic idea or romanticism, that doesn't matter. You're trying to get away with a fucking parking ticket. Or you're not. I've never seen anybody post this shit that wasn't just trying to get away with not following the rules of the land. You are in my country. If you are in my country, you have to follow the laws here. And we, the people in this country, get to determine the laws. You are deciding to disempower us by saying we don't have the ability to change the law. In the state of Oregon, we did. In several states, we did. In the city of Portland, Oregon, even though it's in our best interests to have water that's fluoridated, even though it's run by a bunch of liberals, the city's population really did vote not to have it done, not because we think fluoridation is bad. That's the propaganda you might have seen. It's because they didn't ask us first, because they did a dirty deal with money involved, because it was invalidated. After you invalidate a ruling by the city council, you can also include in it, by the way, you have to give us all the paperwork so we know which one of you got your pockets lined, so we can find who was bribed and fire them, and bar them from ever holding office. That's actually the history for that, partially. If they just come out and said, yeah, we need to have a vote on this because it's a health issue, they would get a yes. In fact, they may have done it by now. The point is, somebody got their pockets lined. That we can't let you get rewarded. And the money was confiscated, so the company can't get their money back. And they're barred permanently from ever providing any services in Multnomah County or in Portland, which makes them look really bad. And that's, let's see if we should name and shame the channel. Or is it just another blank channel waiting for YouTube to get its head out of its ass? It's got a playlist. No videos. Playlist is about camping equipment. And it is a blank channel from 2014. That's your only value. That's sad. So no, your problem is not really getting posted because you didn't offer anything and brought anything here. You just repeated the same lies. But I'll include it in the video. so it doesn't disappear forever. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with it.